The recession didn't start last quarter. It started the moment your grocery bill quietly doubled, your rent went up again, and your paycheck somehow felt smaller even though the number stayed the same. Most people are waiting for someone on television to officially announce it. But here's what the wealthy already know: by the time they announce it, the damage is already done. And the people who understood what was happening months earlier, they already moved their money. What you're about to hear in the next few minutes is not what gets taught in school, not what your employer tells you, and not what most people in your life will ever figure out. There are two things happening right now that could either quietly destroy your financial future or completely change it, depending entirely on what you do next. Stay with me because both of them will surprise you. Let's start with something most people get completely wrong. A recession is not a crash. It is not a dramatic moment where everything falls apart overnight. A recession is a slow, invisible drain. It works like a leak in a pipe. You don't notice it until the ceiling is already wet. Right now, millions of people are technically in a recession and don't know it because their personal economy, meaning their income versus their expenses, their debt versus their savings, has already crossed into negative territory. The government doesn't need to confirm that for it to be real in your life. Here is a number that should stop you cold. The average American household is carrying over $10,000 in credit card debt alone. In the UK, that number is around £13,500 in unsecured debt per adult. In Nigeria and Ghana, where inflation has been running at record highs, the purchasing power of the average salary has dropped by more than 30% in the last 3 years. That means you are doing the same work, earning the same amount, and actually getting poorer every single month without a single thing changing in your life. That is what a recession feels like from the inside. Now here is the counterintuitive truth that the wealthy understand and almost nobody else does. Recessions are not only periods of loss. They are also the greatest wealth transfer events in modern history. Every major recession in the last 100 years, 1929, 1987, 2000, 2008, 2020, created a group of people who came out on the other side significantly wealthier than when it started. Not because they got lucky. Because they understood one simple principle. In a recession, assets get cheap and cash becomes power. Think about what happened in 2008. Housing prices collapsed. Stocks collapsed. Most people panicked, sold everything, and locked their savings in accounts that barely kept up with inflation. But a smaller group of people who understood how money works, bought everything they could afford. They bought index funds when they were down 40%. They bought properties when prices were cut in half. 15 years later, those same assets are worth multiples of what they paid. The recession didn't rob them. It made them. But wait, because here is where it gets personal. That smaller group of people was not smarter than you. They were not born into wealth. What they had was financial education that you were never given. Nobody sat you down and explained how recessions create buying opportunities. Nobody told you that fear is the mechanism that transfers wealth from the many to the few. Nobody explained that inflation punishes savers and rewards people who own assets. And that right there is the entire problem. Right now your money is probably sitting in one of two places. Either a current account earning almost nothing while inflation eats it alive, or being spent on things that lose value the second you buy them. Meanwhile, the people who will come out of this recession richer are doing something completely different. They are putting their money into things that go up when everything else feels like it is going down. Let's be specific because this is where most finance content fails you. Index funds are one of the simplest and most powerful wealth-building tools ever created. Warren Buffett, who is worth over $100 billion, has said publicly that when he dies, he wants his wife's inheritance invested in a simple S&P 500 index fund. Not individual stocks. Not complex strategies. a simple fund that tracks the 500 largest companies in America. Over the last 100 years, the S&P 500 has returned an average of around 10% per year, even including every crash, every recession, every war, every pandemic. If you had invested $300 a month starting at age 25 and never touched it, by age 55 you would have over $600,000. Most people never do this, not because they can't afford $300 a month, but because nobody ever told them this is how it works. And this is the part that will quietly embarrass some of you, because it should. The money you are spending on subscriptions you forgot about, on food delivery every other night, on things you bought on credit that you are still paying interest on 3 years later, that same money, redirected into an index fund or an asset, could be building you a financial cushion that makes a recession feel like a minor inconvenience instead of a catastrophe. The difference between the person who survives this recession and the person who builds wealth through it is not income. It is decision. It is what you choose to do with what you already have. There is one more thing you need to understand, and this is the piece that ties everything together. The reason most people never build wealth is not because they lack opportunity. It is because they are playing defense during the exact moment they should be playing offense. Right now, interest rates are high. That sounds like bad news. And it is bad news if you are borrowing money. But if you are putting money into high-yield savings accounts or money market funds, you are getting 4% to 5% returns on cash that used to earn you nothing. That is free money for doing exactly what you are already doing, which is saving. You just need to move your money to the right place. Recessions end. They always have. The question is not whether things will get better. The question is whether you will be positioned to benefit when they do, or whether you will spend the next 5 years recovering from the next 2. The wealthy are not panicking right now. They are quietly and deliberately moving their money into positions that will pay them for the next decade. They are buying assets while prices are suppressed. They are holding cash in accounts that actually pay interest. They are treating this moment not as a disaster but as an invitation. You were never supposed to know this. The entire financial system is built on the assumption that you will stay confused, stay afraid, and keep spending your money on things that make other people rich. But now you know. And knowing is the first move. The second move is yours.